Will They, Won't They?
Hi.
A podcast for the hopeless.
And the romantics.
I'm Danielle.
And I'm Katie.
Oh my god.
And today...
we are hyping ourselves up today.
Today we are talking about friends with kids.
Friends with kids.
Friends with kids.
Friends with kids.
All right.
Friends with kids.
Uh-huh. It is a 2011 movie.
10 years ago.
No.
We're gonna do
years.
this.
Damn it.
We're going to do this every single
I know, but it's
time.
every time it scares me when we talk about
The
it.
passage of time.
The passage of time.
Will always be a terrifying thing. It's best to embrace it and accept that I'm almost 30.
Fudge.
Closer to 30. Fudge.
Christmas story.
Oh, nuts.
All right. So I love this movie. This is a movie that I already had been obsessed with and insisted we watch today for some reason.
Yeah, you were really into it.
It's not
It's not critically renowned.
Yeah, it's not a mainstream rom-com. It's just one of those little ones that slipped out, and I watched it because of the actors that were in it, honestly.
It's got a really great cast. Honestly, really my only criticism of the movie is the cast was so underutilized. I wish we had so much more time with all of the hilarious actors that they have in the cast.
I agree.
It's got Adam Scott, Maya Rudolph, Chris O'Dowd, Kristen Wiig, John Hamm,
yes,
and Jennifer Westfeldt.
Yes.
And it's just it's they all had the weekend off for SNL and we're let's just do a movie.
I really think this is my theory because at the time Jennifer was with John Hamm.
Yeah.
So I think they were actually all just friends and they agreed to do the movie just because they wanted to. Because they're all so great and the whole time I'm just I want more of this dynamic.
Yeah, we were saying right before we started recording this feels like something the movie almost felt like it was a pilot. It should have been just a whole TV show.
Especially because you see the kid go the time passes really fast.
The passage
Whereas
of
if
time.
it was the passage of time.
The passage of time.
Whereas if it was a TV show, then it would have been the first season she's pregnant and the second season they have a baby and you know what I mean? They really could have
100%.
They could have really dragged it out.
They could have stretched it out and we could have gotten more storylines with Maya Rudolph and Chris O'Dowd are married and Kristen Wiig and John Hamm are married in the movie. And we could have gotten so many funny side storylines and also dramatic ones because Kristen Wiig and John Hamm get divorced in the movie and we could have really delved into it. But I
agree with you on that.
They're all very busy Hollywood actors.
You want it. You want more. There's when that happens with a movie where you're I just want more.
It almost gives me a How I Met Your Mother vibe. Just the interactions between the characters because they're all friends from college. They all go through these life experiences. To be honest, I never watched How I Met Your Mother. Oh. It just reminds me of that.
Okay. I was
if we're being perfectly honest.
I was how does it remind me? But no, I see what
just
you're saying.
The premise.
The premise of friends from college. Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. And
how to navigate. Yeah, and they're in New York. As most shows and movies are. At least in the early 2000s. New York was very much the place. But now I think it's LA. So many places are set in LA.
I feel in the 90s it was Chicago.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
So many rom-coms were Chicago. It's
a different metropolitan city every decade.
Or Home Alone was Chicago.
Yeah. What a movie.
I love that movie.
That movie kills me. You forgot your child.
I still love that movie. The whole slapsticks comedy that's going on at the end.
Slapsticks.
Good slapstick that's timeless, ageless. You're gonna laugh no matter what.
Yeah.
Love that.
Love it. Anyway, we're going to talk about Home Alone.
Surprise! This is about Home Alone.
This is a holiday movie podcast.
Oh
Did you know there's a Christmas movie with Melissa Joan Hart where she has a podcast and she it's her talking about each holiday?
What?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
How have I not seen that?
I don't know. I can't remember what it's called.
Holiday in Handcuffs because that's my favorite Melissa Joan Hart movie.
No, it's
another.
It's another where she's a podcast.
I'm
host.
upset that I haven't seen it.
And of course, the guy she falls in love with, I think he's a volunteer fireman or something like that. I haven't seen it. Oh no, she's really upset she hasn't seen it.
I can't believe I haven't seen it. Also, I just want to say something on behalf of the podcasting community. I saw a TikTok, a rude TikTok, that was like, you know what? If you're seeing this, don't start a podcast.
Well, you know what,
the
bitch?
hell?
We did.
What the hell?
And look at us now.
Look at us now.
Haven't even edited a single episode.
How rude.
We're doing it.
Okay, friends with kids.
Okay, yeah. Sidetrack, tangents.
So, this movie starts off with...
We're getting into it.
We're getting into it. Yeah.
Let's dive right in. Face first, babes.
Diving in, darling. We're diving right in.
Olympic.
Why?
I don't know.
We've got such good banter, love.
Have we?
Yeah,
Have we got the chat?
We've got the chat. We've got good banter.
You're 100% my type
on paper.
When we're not watching rom-coms, we're watching Love Island, and we're so annoying because, like, all we do is repeat what they say.
Yeah.
Anyway, friends with kids.
We're doing a bad job. What?
We're doing a great job.
Yeah, we're doing a good job.
I'm proud of us.
So.
Whoa.
Okay. Oh my god. Edit this. Okay, so friends with motherfucking kids.
That was the original title, but they were like, I don't think that'll work out.
Appeal to all audiences. Yeah. Friends with Kids starts off with Jennifer Westfield, aka Jules.
Westfeld.
Shit, sorry. Jennifer Westfield.
Jennifer Westfield Malls.
No, I'm so sorry. And Adam Scott as Jason, and they are talking about which way they would rather die.
Yeah, she calls him. It's like clearly the middle of the night.
It's 4:18 in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, same. I don't sleep either, so. But she calls him and immediately asks the question, what is it, aneurysm or cancer? Or no, that's later in the movie.
Yeah, she asks him if he'd rather
they do like this cute little
eaten
game
by an alligator or a shark.
Oh, that's it. They do like a cute little thing where they like ask how they would rather die because it's just like, it's a fun way to kill time. And they're both...
time.
And they're both in bed with different people. And clearly it's not going to work out with either of the other people, but...
They're just besties.
They're besties.
They're best friends, doing their thing.
Yeah.
You can tell they do a really good job of establishing that they have like a very long running relationship.
And like that they're very comfortable with each other.
He calls her doll.
Ugh.
Throughout the whole movie, which I just love.
It like makes me melt.
Hey, doll.
Yes.
And they establish early on that like they're not attracted to each other. They kind of right away they're like, we're not attracted to each other.
We're brother sisters.
Yeah, we're siblings. Anyway, which I always think is weird, but
yeah,
whatever.
That's always strange to me to call someone like platonic, like of the opposite sex, like your sibling. I don't know, because I don't know.
I know what you mean. I understand that the feeling can sometimes transcend friendship, where they feel familial, but like familial doesn't have to be like a sibling. You know what I mean?
Like a third cousin twice removed.
Yeah,
because like
there's your cousins, and then there's your first cousins. No,
sweetie. But there's always like I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
It's interesting.
So yeah, so they basically are going to dinner with like their whole gang from college, and you can tell they're in their mid 30s at this point, like probably like 35, 33s in there. And Chris O'Dowd, which is Alex, and Maya, which is Leslie, announced that they're having a baby.
Which, like, imagine being friends with that couple, Chris O'Dowd and Maya Rudolph. Like, I would just be, A, I would be obsessed with them, and B, I would hate them.
Why would you hate them?
Because I would want to be them.
Oh, my.
It's like, I think that would be the funniest relationship to see, and also just, it would kill me inside.
Yeah, I think it would be really lovely to be around those people.
Yeah, 100%. So they announced they're having a baby.
Yeah, so they're having a baby, and that's kind of like... you realized, or everyone kind of realizes, including the audience, that like everything's about to change because it's like the group is having babies.
Yeah, because like as they're at the restaurant, they see this family with a bunch of kids, and they're like, God, why would you take children to this type of place?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. That sounds miserable to me. And then Leslie and Alex, we all know I'm really good with names. Leslie and Alex are like, well, actually, we're having a baby. And you can tell everyone has to, like, shift and be like,
oh, we
congrats!
actually bring kids here. Yeah. I don't care about that. So
we get a time jump very early on in the movie.
Yeah, basically they talk about like, well, I guess everything's going to change and like blah, blah, blah. And then time jump 4 years later.
Yeah, I thought it said 4 months, and like they showed like this grown child, and I was like, wait, hang on.
I was like,
I'm lost.
So yeah, so the babies, so there's like multiple babies, and the other couple, which is Missy and Ben, they have a baby, and it's just obvious that like everything's changed, and so they're going over to hang out with Leslie and Alex for Jason's birthday. And it's like complete chaos. Ugh. The house down boots. Ugh. It's so realistic though, where it's just like there's two kids, they're screaming, everyone's like scrambling around.
They're 35 minutes late and they're still not ready in the house.
Completely unfocused, like all over the place. And you can tell that like Jason and Jules are just like, this seems insane.
They're like, oh God.
Yeah. Like, and like the couples are kind of like mean to each other.
Yeah. Like, it's very much like early days of having children where you're like, you do it. No, you do it. Why do I have to do it?
I do everything, like that type of thing. And they're just like, ooh. So after the weird party, they are having a conversation, and
Jason and Julie are having a conversation.
Jason and Jules. Yeah, they're having a conversation, and they decide that having a baby the conventional way
would make them miserable.
And also because Jules is older, she's in her late 30s, and she's sort of like, if I meet somebody within 6 months, I need to get pregnant, basically, and like have a family.
It's that thing where like, you know, your biological clock is ticking, and you don't want to like set these standards on yourself based on your age, but at the same time, like, Mother Nature has very strict rules about fertility. Yep. And so it's one of those things you have to think about towards your late 30s if it's something you've wanted. And they both decide, like, they both tell each other, like, yeah, of course we want kids. It's something that we know we've always wanted, but they don't want to have kids in the traditional way.
Yeah, and they don't want to have to go through the process of... They say something that's really profound and I think is super interesting, where it's like, you love the person that you love more than anything, like your wife or your partner or husband, whatever, means everything to you, and then you have a baby, and you somehow have to reconcile the fact that you love that baby more than you could ever love your partner.
Yeah, I definitely related to this, because it's like you spend all this time looking for what you think is the one, and you choose this person over everyone else in the world, and then as soon as you guys like settle down and you're ready to like live your lives together, choosing each other, you get this like pressure to have a baby, and then like suddenly you have to love this thing more than you love the person you chose.
Not even have to, it just is what happens.
Yeah,
like most of the time biologically you're just like, oh God damn it, I love this thing now unconditionally, and I don't know if I love my partner unconditionally because I don't know how, or like whatever.
Yeah, you go through so many trials trying to find who you think will be the perfect person to spend the rest of your life with. Like, think about how difficult it is to find someone to date and think about long term, and when you finally do, it's like, well, then you get like such a small period of time,
especially if you're older,
if you want to have children
when you meet the person. So there was some logical reasoning behind their decision, but basically they decide they're best friends, they know each other better than anyone, and they're like, let's just skip the marriage and divorce and just be co-parents together. And so they decide to have a baby together. Which, you know, you think about, like, on one hand, I was like, yeah, okay, like, I get this. On the other hand, you're thinking, like, there's going to be disaster.
You, like, can feel disaster in the air. Like, the thing is, they do such a good job in the beginning that you're like, oh, it's going to be
Well, just
fine.
imagine, though, like, like, I'm trying to imagine, like, if you were like, oh, I'm going to have a baby with, like, I mean, I don't know, some guy that you were best friends with.
I don't have friends.
But let's say in theory you had friends, and one of and one of them was.
Sorry. Let's say in theory you had friends.
And one of them was a dude that you were really close with. Like, if you told me that you were going to have a baby with your guy friend, I'd be like, feels dangerous.
Feels like a minefield.
Feels
because, like,
how are you not going to fall in love with somebody who you share all that with?
Yeah. And I mean, even if you know them for decades, like, it's like, I don't know. It's just going to be different.
Yeah. So, time moves fast. They have sex is really funny and like.
Oh, it's really cute.
It's really cute because
Julie is so awkward. She can't stop talking and like doesn't know what to do, and it's weird because it feels like she's kissing her brother.
And they talk a lot about how she's not his type. Like, she's like, sorry, I know I don't have big boobs like you like. And
he's very much like, watching the movie, he's a pig when it comes to women.
He's kind of misogynistic for sure about women.
And like, obviously has his own attachment issues, like stemming from issues with his mother and father. But yeah, she's like, it feels like she's always apologizing for not having the body that he would be attracted to. And that's why I think, like, from the get-go, she never thinks of him romantically, because she's like, why? I just know he wouldn't be attracted to me.
I so relate to that. Like, like, obviously, she's not like a fat girl, but there's just this feeling that would happen to me a lot where I'm just like, I'm not even gonna bother like considering that a reality, because I just know he's not gonna be into fat girls. Yeah. Like, it's such a thing where like you just tell yourself like it's not gonna happen, you know? But I feel like so then the sex scene is really cute because he's like, you know, I'm a grower, not a shower. And she's like, oh yeah, I know you have a big dick. Like, a couple of different girls that you've been with have told me. And he's just like, oh, okay.
And he's like, well, I've seen your boobs.
Yeah, so it's just like
it's
funny.
Really cute.
And then he's like, she's kind of like, whatever, teasing him. They get to business. They do the thing.
And then the next scene is her giving birth.
Giving birth, yeah.
He's like on a date with someone, and he gets the call that she's in labor. And like, they're talking about his date while she's in labor, and he's like, she overpronounces French words. Like, it's not going to work.
That's one of my favorite scenes.
In labor.
Literally, he's like, she like orders some crazy shit, and then he's just like, I'll have Stella. She's like,
the pochon de bonbon.
And he's just like, oh my fucking God.
Which, like, good for you. You did a semester in Paris. We've all seen Emily in Paris. Like,
congrats. But yeah, so the labor is really funny too, because he's just like, oh my God, it's disgusting. It looks so great. Your pussy looks like a jellyfish. Like, it is like a friendship feeling, you know? And then everything's really good. Like, they're doing a great job co-parenting.
They decide to have a party for all their friends. Like, they invite the couples over who inspired them to have a baby and inspired them to do it differently. And when they come over, they're like, oh, I'm sure it's going to be a disaster.
They're like, this is going to be a shit show. Yeah. Like, and super judgmental.
And when they get in, they see, like, how well they've been co-parenting. Like, the apartment's clean, like, the baby isn't screaming, or, like, when it is,
they made quiches and espresso.
And, like, you know, Missy and Leslie are just like, what the fuck is going on? Because, like, what's his name? Jason. God, I don't know names. Jason is like, oh yeah, I'll change the baby's diaper. I'm so much better with poop than you are anyway. And
ha ha ha. Like,
they're all just like,
what the hell? Yeah.
And it's just so obviously like a what's the thing that predicts something? I don't know. It's
like foreshadowing.
Bam. That's it.
You're welcome.
It's obviously foreshadowing for like how well their relationship would work.
It works.
How well it works.
That's the frustrating thing when you're watching it, is you're just like, okay, so what's the problem?
Figure it out. Yeah. I thought that from the beginning of the movie. Same. I was like, so why aren't they together?
So why aren't they a thing?
I said that in the beginning.
So, I think there's a little bit of jealousy too from the other couples, because I think they almost feel like it's not fair. Yeah,
because you can really see them struggling. Like, with Maya Rudolph and Chris O'Dowd, it's like they very obviously love each other.
Yeah, they're like happy together.
They're having a difficult time navigating having children at the same time. Whereas with
very realistic, sort of just like we can't have sex because there's babies in our bed. Like,
exactly.
We want to, we just can't. Like, that kind of thing.
Whereas with Missy and Ben, it's very obvious. Like, before they had babies, they were so obsessed with each other and in love and wanted to have sex all the time. But once they have kids, they realize, like, there's all these fractures and cracks in their relationship.
It's just not working. And it's very clear from the get that, like, that is not working. It's very uncomfortable. So, things are going well, and they both start dating, except, like, different people. And they're supporting each other on that journey. And he meets Megan Fox. Whose name is...
Nope, didn't write that one down.
Megan Fox.
Her name is Megan... Oh, MJ, Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. Yeah, okay. So he meets... he sees her in the park while he's walking the baby.
One time I remembered a name, and of course it's because it reminded me of weed.
Right. He's walking in the park, and he's like, there's no way this beautiful woman is walking towards me. And basically... Somehow,
and I don't know how he pulled her with the terrible haircut he had in that scene.
Bad.
He had awful hair in that scene. It was the only time I ever thought Adam Scott looked vaguely unattractive. I was still attracted to him, but...
He was less attractive to you in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he starts dating her, and...
Adam Scott, if you're listening, I'm still attracted to you.
If you're listening. Adam Scott, if you're listening, we love you. But yeah, you can tell that... like that night when he gets home, he's talking to Jules, and she's looking at him. He's like fixing up their Chinese food dinner and talking about how good the baby is and all this stuff.
Clearly something
And
clicks.
she's looking at him, and she's looking at him in a way that, like, you know that feeling, you know that look.
When you're like, oh shit.
Shit, I'm in love with this person.
Son of a bitch.
And it's the worst feeling usually. Disastrous
when you don't know how the other person feels.
Yeah.
It's so sad. And like, you know, she hasn't gone out to date yet because she feels like her body isn't ready. Which is like,
there's so much fat phobia in this movie that's like so unnecessary. But
Welcome
it's also
to
just like every
rom-coms.
movie is like that. Yeah. A lot of just like, I think it's almost worse because it's subtle fat phobia in this.
Very much so.
Where it's like normalized or something. It doesn't feel like bad. You're just like, yeah.
You're just like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to have kids after having a baby because fat.
Yeah.
Which like is terrible.
Yeah, not great. But anyway, in the same moment that she gives him that look, he says, like, I think I met the one today. And you can tell that she's like, oh, great.
She like does not want to talk about it.
And then things start to get a little tense between them.
Yeah.
For the first time.
She starts going on dates.
Yeah, because she's obviously upset about MJ. And then they start going on, and then she starts going on dates.
And like you can tell like when she's on the date, she's comparing them to him. And she's just not interested whatsoever. So she finally goes on this final date, and she's like about to leave and is like, no, I don't want to do this. And Maya Rudolph's like, no, I promise, like, he's not a convict, like, this is the one. And she meets him, and it turns out he is, like, incredible. He's, like, the nice guy in almost every movie except The Holiday. I don't remember the actor's name.
His name's Kurt in this.
He looks like a golden retriever, acts like a golden retriever, is, like, perfect in every way. And, like, you know, she starts to fall for him.
And they're both just making subtle, shitty comments to each other about stuff. Like, she says something about how, like, big his dick is and how much bigger it is than...
She's like, oh, but you're perfectly proportional because of your height.
Because of your height, yeah.
Which is, like, also, like, 6'2", if that matters. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Very awkward. And then they decide to go to the ski resort trip, which is kind of when the shit.
When the shit, it's the fan, done it? Governor?
Yes, sir.
So they both bring their significant others. They like, you know, they're still co-parenting.
It's been a few months, yeah.
They're still co-parenting, like, at a normal pace and still doing well with that. But at the same time, it's like, there's obviously some underlying resentment.
You can feel it.
Yeah. But not from Jason, because he's fucking clueless. You know what I mean?
Yep. But you can feel, but there is, like, weird jealousy with, like,
how perfect
like Kurt and
is.
and the baby and stuff like that. But I don't necessarily think it's linked, or he doesn't know that it's linked.
It's subconsciously linked. Yeah.
Jewel.
So they're in Vermont. You know, Mary Jane is the cool girlfriend. She wants to go snowboarding. She wants to have fun.
She's super young.
While the moms have to stay at home with the kids, but Kurt decides he wants to stay as well and help the moms out. And it's very much like a moment where, like, you see Ben, who's John Hamm's character, like, get pissed off and, like, I can't remember what he says to Kristen Wiig in that moment, but, like, she walks away crying and he still leaves to go skiing. And it's very much a moment where you're like, yeah, this is disintegrating fast.
This relationship's not going well. So then they have dinner.
The dinner scene.
And I'm just going to say, like, I just think that I really like tension. And because, like, you know, people
it's
complain,
where we're most comfortable.
You know how people complain about, like, British TV or, like, even, like, The Office sometimes? Like,
it's too uncomfortable.
For that. I don't know why. I think I just like the idea that you can create, that you can make people feel uncomfortable like that.
Yeah. It's like,
no, it's fascinating to me.
It very much reminded me of, like, the dinner scene in, like, August Osage County and in Hereditary. It's very much like families with a lot of tension arguing at dinner, and it's like you can't really leave because your dinner's right there and you have to kind of just, like, talk it out, you know?
Yeah.
It's rough. It's
I don't think we ever did that, but I feel like basically Ben, he's a little drunk. Him and Missy keep having back and forth kind of like little
snide comments.
That's a good way to put it.
Really shitty.
And he says some really shitty stuff to Jason.
Yeah.
Basically like, what the hell are you guys going to do? Like, you think this is going to work? You think that having this baby, you guys didn't think about anything when you decided to have.
He's using their relationship to take out his own
relationship. To scapegoat his own issues.
And, like, to be fair, he does have a point. Like, you're bringing a whole new life into the world and you guys didn't think about it.
And also, you know, he says, like, how do you think your kid's going to feel when he realized, like, his parents never loved each other? And when he says that, Jason goes off and he's just like,
never loved each
other.
I
don't love her?
Yeah.
He's like, you think that I don't love her? I know everything about this woman. Like, honestly, please give Adam Scott, if you're listening, I just want you to know that you deserve a fucking Oscar for that scene. Like, I don't know if it's because, like, I'm an Aries and I know about anger, baby, but, like, that was such a realistic experience of someone defending themselves and a person they love.
Yeah. He listed off like every reason why he loves her and how much he knows about her. And you can tell, like, Julie is, like, taking this in and taking this as, like, proof that he feels the same way she feels.
Yeah, on some level.
And it, like, you can tell it, like, they don't focus on it, but it makes Kurt and Mary Jane feel a little uncomfortable. Yeah.
Especially because Ben also says something like, you know, this is your longest relationship you've ever had. What is it, like 7 weeks long? Yeah. You know, and he basically calls her, like, big tit, like...
Yeah,
he says something real mean.
Megan Fox, if you're listening, you deserve better than what every single movie ever has ever given you. You deserve an apology from everyone in Hollywood. Let's just put that out there.
Oh, man. But yeah, so that is, like, was extremely intense. Poor Alex was just trying to give a nice New Year's speech, and it went left real quick. But everything kind of changes after that. You see that Missy and Ben get divorced.
Yeah.
You see that you actually see that Alex and Leslie are closer, which I think is I loved that brought that in, because I do think sometimes it's like, whew, like, we're lucky we have each other. Like, you feel that.
It's very much like
gratitude.
We see this one couple who we thought were so in love, like, just like resent each other, and like,
we're
thankfully,
so glad.
as mad as they get at each other, that they still love each other.
We're so glad we're not them. Yeah,
their relationship is so. I'm obsessed with their relationship.
I know. I wish there was more.
Like, I wish it was a TV show. Yeah, I want to watch more of Maya Rudolph and Chris O'Dowd interacting, because it's so cute. Good.
I love when she's just like, I'm so annoyed at you right now. Like, just like,
it's like playful anger.
Are you kidding me today?
They're so cute. Like,
yeah, they're really cute.
They did a really good job at playing with, like, married chemistry and not, like, brand new love chemistry, you know.
I agree. Yeah, they were great. But also what you notice is like after that speech that Jason gives, like it's very clear that Julie is not as invested in the Kurt situation. She's like with him, but you can tell that it's just not right.
Yeah. Kurt offers for her to meet his children.
And he had said specifically that he would never do that unless it was someone he felt he was ready to be committed to.
Yeah.
So she's kind of at a crossroads where it's like, if I say that I'm committed to Kurt, then I have to let go of this situation with Jason, and I can't do that, basically. So she decides for her birthday that she's just going to ask him to go out to dinner, and she's not going to ask anybody else. He doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And so he gets to the restaurant, and it's just, he's like, where's everybody? Like, totally oblivious.
Idiot.
And they sit down, and he's just like, where's Kurt? Like, and she's like, Kurt's home, like, whatever. Like, just, and she confesses her feelings to him.
And this
she says, like, I just want to be with family, and you're my family.
Yeah,
basically.
She says, like, not even my mom.
Not even my mom.
Not even,
yeah. She's like, you're my family.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, like, we're family.
Yeah.
Like, just not getting it. And then she finally says, like, the whole time that she's with Kurt, all she can think about is being with him. Mm-hmm. And it's like, again, incredible acting on Adam Scott's part. Yep. But, like, Jason just is like, are you drunk? Like,
what's going on?
And it's such a sad moment because
she tries to kiss him. She's in the middle of trying to kiss him, and he's like, whoa, you had too many martinis. And she's like,
humiliating.
I'm not drunk. I'm literally here trying to confess my love to you.
On my birthday.
And you're just sitting there saying, like, you don't find me attractive, pretty much. It's upsetting. And then I mean, yeah, that's what he says. Like, he says, I'm just not attracted to you. Mm-hmm. And that MJ's moving in with him. Yeah.
And so she decides that they can't be in each other's lives. And
yeah,
obviously they'll co-parent, but
she moves away from him. Like, she moves
to Brooklyn.
A different area of New York. I don't know the different neighborhoods, but
she moves to Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And what's he in Manhattan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. She moves to Brooklyn. It's further away. Like, he has to, like, make all these arrangements in order to see his kid.
It's so funny, like, people when they, like, Manhattan people or Brooklyn people, it's like, you expect me to go all the way to Brooklyn? You know? Because it's like you're probably going to have to take 2 trains, or if you live, you know, on the east side, you got to go to the west side. It's like a whole thing. But, yeah. It's definitely like he feels that she's kind of taking him away.
Yeah.
But she's like, you can see him whenever you want. Like, I just can't be here. I just can't be around you.
Do you want me to be around you while you're living with her?
And it's a really sad moment because, like, throughout the movie, like, their relationship is so fun and so playful and so happy. And, like,
it's the first time we ever see cracks in the relationship, really.
Yeah, and cracks in him. Because
Idiot.
He's not doing well, you know?
Yeah.
And then basically she starts dating other people. Time keeps elapsing. It's been like probably a year.
Yeah.
He is out to dinner with MJ. Yeah.
And they see a family next to them. It's like the beginning of the movie where it's like, why would you bring kids to a fancy restaurant?
I like that they brought that back.
And MJ says the same exact thing as he said a couple years before. Like, oh my God, I could never bring kids to a restaurant like this. And, like, you know, Adam Scott starts talking to the family next to him, and he's like, oh, how old are they? Like, I have a 2-year-old. And she's like, we're just trying to see how it works, like, bringing them out to a restaurant.
It's because it's, like, the dad's birthday.
Yeah.
And it's like he's changed so much. Like, he doesn't recognize that person who would be annoyed about that anymore because he sees the value in, like, being a dad and having a family. And that's just something that MJ has said multiple times that she never wants.
And, like, you can tell when they look at each other, they have this, like, moment, like, we're on different wavelengths at this point in our lives. Yeah. And this relationship has run its course. So, you know, we never see them break up, but, like, we have a scene with Ben and Jason talking in a bar.
And Ben is basically, like, apologizing for everything that he said. Mm-hmm. And Jason's like, well, you know, I'm sorry too, and I appreciate the apology, but like, you were right about everything you said. And Ben was like, yeah, you know, I heard about what happened with MJ, and that's when you find out that they broke up. And he's like, yeah, I'm not really talking about that. And he's like, and
I heard
what
about
happened
that.
with everything else. Yeah. And they have this really good conversation. There's this moment that I love where Ben's like, why did you never try to make things work with Julie? And he's like,
she's like a limb.
She's like a limb. She's like part of me. Like, and
it's
he's
too
like,
comfortable.
It's too
there's no
there's
surprises.
And he goes, what's wrong with that?
Why? Like, and he compares it to his own relationship. Like, me and Missy, like, we were so excited by each other every day. And then once the shit hit the fan, like, we realized we couldn't deal with it.
It was like, you need to find somebody that is good during bad times too, not just the really good times.
And I think that's kind of like when the light turns on in this dim-witted boy's mind. And he's like, oh, shit, that is a good thing, isn't it? When you're comfortable and safe with someone.
And it's so sad, too, because, like, I know firsthand, like, how easy it is to convince yourself that you don't like or like that it's not like that or whatever. Like,
the only reason it feels safe is because it's not as romantic
I
or
used
fun.
to think it was crazy. Like, when I would watch this movie before, I would be like, he's so stupid. But now that I've like experienced something like that where you feel this like you do feel stupid once you actually see what's going on and like how much you love the person. You're like, what the hell
and how
was I
much
thinking?
it's like your own hang-ups
and that
you
like
back
attachment, you know, just like avoidant attachment, just like being afraid to be committed, being afraid to be, you know, in love for real. And you can tell he's avoided that his whole life, but he felt safe in his relationship with Julie because it was safe.
Yeah,
but
he didn't
like,
have to worry about like
yeah.
her leaving or him getting
Yes.
bored or things like that.
The fear that he wouldn't be good enough for her or that
which he isn't.
But yeah, so at that point she's like dating other people. She seems like she's in a good place.
Yeah.
But she's definitely got walls up. And when he goes over to drop off,
you can tell there's just like they're not comfortable with each other anymore. She like she's not playful with him anymore. It's just very much like, thanks for dropping him off. I'll see you next week.
And you
know
can
what
tell
I mean?
that he like really wants that. Like he wants to have
a relationship with her.
Yeah.
Of any type. But like she's very much like trying to protect herself because she was so humiliated and embarrassed before.
I can't.
Like, imagine having to see that person every day being like, I love you so much, and then being like, I literally don't find you attractive. And then having to see them every single day after that? No.
With their insanely hot girlfriend.
Megan Fox girlfriend?
I can't imagine someone saying to me like that they loved me, but they didn't find me attractive. Like, that's...
I like want to cry
so
thinking
painful.
about it.
I know, it's so painful.
Like, that's why he's a doofus. I want to kick his butt.
Whoa.
I want to kick his butt.
But yeah, so basically when he's there, he has brought over her birthday gift from the year before that she never got. Mm-hmm. And he's like,
because they've been on such like weird terms.
And he's like, hey, you know, like I didn't get to give this to you last year. And she's like, thanks. And then the little boy is like, come in, Daddy, come in, Daddy.
Yeah.
I want to open the presents, like whatever. It's kind of one of those things where you're just like, okay.
He's like throwing a tantrum.
And Jason's not helping. Like he's not.
He's like, okay, yeah, I'll stay.
He's kind of letting it happen. You can feel that. And so he comes in and they go up, or they go down technically to the little boy's room. And Joe is his name.
Joe.
Little baby Joe.
Joseph.
And you can tell that Jason's never been in the place. He's never seen Joe's new room. And it's sad. It's like a sad moment.
It's a really sad moment because you can tell he's like missing this entire part of his son's life and the mother of his son's life.
Yep.
You know, like this entire chapter he's not been written into or a part of at all.
So they open the gift and it's like this photo album that he made. And it's like pictures of them all and like before she's pregnant and like just all these really thoughtful, very unlike what
you would expect
from him.
Yeah.
And then like the baby is like, I want daddy to sleep over. And he's like, and her mom's like, daddy sleeps at his house.
Yeah. And he's like, well, why can't he sleep at our house? And then Jason goes, I want to sleep at your house. She's like,
what are you doing?
Are you fucking kidding me?
He's like, I want to. So then
he's being a brat.
Yeah, he's being a brat. When they go back to the doorway and she kind of yells at him and she's like, what are you doing? Like, you can't say that to a 2.5-year-old. Like, they don't understand. It's going to confuse him.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I want to stay here. Like, she's like, you can't do this.
She's like, I'm finally moving on. I'm getting over the fact you said you weren't attracted to me. Like, I'm finally moving on. I'm in a good place. You can't just come here and disrupt my life like this. And he's like, he tries to kiss her. She says no. Like, and like he kind of like just leaves because she's like, this isn't how it's gonna go. Like, end of. That's it.
She is definitely too hurt, wounded for that to happen. So he leaves. And he's like driving away and there's like indie music playing. And then he like turns around basically. He's like at a green light and people are honking and he's like zoned out. And then he like pulls a Yui. And he runs back to the house.
Let's drive.
Let's ride. Yeah. And then sorry, I just pictured that song playing. I hate you. So then he gets back to the house and he basically tells her like, you know, like
he says slow painful death.
Oh yeah. And she's like, what? Because at the beginning of the movie when they were doing their little game, she said, would you rather die a slow painful death or watch your partner die of a slow painful death? And in the beginning, the love of your life. And he says at the beginning, I would rather watch the love of my life die. And she's like, what? That's so much worse. And he's like,
I'm living.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And so he says, I would rather.
When he gets to the house, he goes, I would rather die a slow, painful death. And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, you asked me this so long ago.
I would like to retract my previous answer.
Yeah. He's like, because I realized I didn't have the love of my life. Well, I did, but I didn't know it.
I was too stupid to know it.
I was too stupid to know it. And I now know it's so much worse to live without the love of your life.
Ugh. And he's like almost crying.
He's like crying.
Yeah.
So choked up while he's talking.
He's so choked up.
Scott, like,
such a good actor.
He like had me almost
Thank
crying.
you, Reese Witherspoon, for seeing it.
Yes.
And I need some big directors out there. Martin Scorsese. I don't know. Who else is a big director? Tarantino. Me. No. But like, let's get him in an Oscar movie.
He deserves it.
God damn it. He's so good in this movie. Like, that moment is
and he's so good in Big Little Lies.
He's great in everything.
Yeah.
He's great as fucking Ben Wyatt.
Oh, yeah, Ben.
The show turned around for me when Ben came. I gotta say.
I agree.
When Ben came, I said, okay, I'm back in it. You
yep.
know? But yeah, so just that, I don't know, just that moment where he's like, I was so stupid. Like, I don't know how I didn't see this. Like, and she still rejects him. He starts to kiss her and she's like, no, like, I don't want to be with somebody who doesn't find me attractive. Like, I can't do this. And then he says to her, let me fuck the shit out of you.
He says, I don't want to make love to you. I want to fuck the shit out of you.
Please let me fuck the shit out of you.
In the height of the romance of this movie,
he's in tears.
In tears saying,
shaking. Please just let me fuck the shit out of you.
Please, begging, let me fuck the shit out of you to show you I love
you. And then he says, like, if you don't believe without a shadow of doubt that I love you and that I want to fuck you after this, then I will leave. But like, just let me fucking show you. Just
when he says, let me fuck the shit out of you, I think
you did pass out.
I went into a small coma. A small coma.
Bitch.
I straight up left my body and went,
hey, men out there, not just men, you know what? Sorry, that was
any person looking to say anything sexy to me.
To anyone, tell the person that you consensually have a sexual relationship with, I want to fuck the shit out of you.
Like, listen, making love is beautiful. It's fine. It's a great way to express your emotion that you feel towards someone. But when you tell someone, I want to fuck the shit out of you.
And then please please let me fuck the shit out of you. Call 911, bitch.
Like, I'm feverish.
I know. Like, it's too much.
It's also such an interesting way to have written that line for this movie, because it's like, you think it's going to be this romantic declaration, and clearly at the base of it all is her feeling like physically she's not attractive enough for him, because he's always talked about how he likes a girl with big tits and like, yeah. And like, when he rejected her, he said, I'm not attracted to her. So like, at the very base of it, she's like, you don't find me attractive, period. I'm not being with someone who sees me as a consolation prize because they're lonely. Like, you don't find me attractive. And he's like, it's not because I'm lonely. It's because I want to fuck the shit out of you. And I'm like,
love that.
Hot diggity dog.
It also is like so in alignment with their relationship. Mm-hmm. Like,
they're so comfortable.
Mm-hmm. The way that they always were, you know? Mm-hmm. So.
And it ends with him fucking the shit out of her.
Yeah. He says, is that okay with you? Or he says, like,
consent.
Yeah. And she just says, fuck the shit out of me. And that's how it ends.
I love that that's the way it ended.
I do too.
I do love it. I mean, I had said, like, I wish I got more of the other couples, like, after that. Like, we had, like, you know, another time jump where we see they had another kid or something. They live in
Brooklyn together.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, they have, like, the perfect...
But I kind of also love that it just ends so abruptly with her being like, fuck the shit out of me. Like, this movie's good. Like, it's not one of my favorite rom-coms, but, like, the fact that it ended like that, like, makes it elevates it for me.
I agree. That was, like, because
it's such a, like, left field, like, and it clearly, like, takes from the insecurities that she has within the movie and being like, he is very attracted to you. Like,
yeah,
it was a really good way to end it.
Yeah. I think that was, like, what sold me to, mm-hmm. I think, like, having been in dynamics where it was either, like, platonic or it became platonic or it was confusing. Like, mm-hmm. we were best friends, but there was, like, maybe sexual tension. I felt like so, like, triggered by this or sort of seen, maybe, mm-hmm. is a good way to put it.
Represented.
Because, like, sometimes you just want somebody to just, like...
I want to know that person.
They want you that bad, you know?
And they see you as, like, a sexual being. Yeah. Not just because it's, like, convenient.
Not just because they like you or because they like your personality or they mm-hmm. love you, but because, like, they want to fuck you. Like... That's especially, I think, when you know, they've been friends for like 20 years. It's something that you would definitely want to hear. Love.
Catherine.
What?
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
How did this movie fuck you up?
Well, I was saying before we watched it, like, the first time I watched this movie, I was in a fragile state. And it was, like, just a rough time in my life. And I remember I watched it on my laptop, like, with my blankets over my head. And then you know what I mean? Like,
sorry,
college.
I'm not laughing at your pain.
Because you know what I'm talking about. Like, college style. Yeah. Like, I probably ate a bag of Doritos and then just, mm-hmm. like, was laying there.
I probably had
dead.
Oreos.
Yeah, literally. And I just remember, like, crying so hard because I wanted to have that moment where like somebody realized that they were attracted to me in that way, and it just like hit me so hard. So I feel like I felt like this was a story that has never really been told and doesn't get told enough.
Friends to lovers.
Like it on one hand, it's like, yeah, of course that's a story, but like the way that they told this story,
where it's like he doesn't see her attractive until he realizes he loves her.
Like there is a genuine reality where they don't end up together, you know? So I think, I don't know,
they both had to live in that reality.
Yeah, I think that I really felt fucked up from that. And honestly, the fight scene.
That
Adam Scott just blew me out of the water in that scene. Like, I was like, I will always love this movie, if not just for Adam Scott's acting. I don't know why. I literally can't.
He was the star of this movie.
For sure. He definitely had a shining moment, for sure.
Shining moment.
But yeah, I think that's how this movie fucked me up. Danielle.
I'm just stalling.
How did this movie fuck you up?
Let me fuck the shit out of you.
Yeah.
That fucked me up. It's just so vital for me in a relationship to know that my partner wants to fuck the shit out of me.
Especially Adam Scott. He's so hot. He's so hot.
It's like horrific.
He's so hot.
Like, I want to watch Big Little Lies now because, like, I just want to. Did you ever want it? Did you want it? We get microphones in our hands and think we're like Christina.
Too much, girl.
But anyway, the "let me fuck the shit out of you" being like the final line really fucked me up because it's just such a like, obviously if like sex isn't an important detail to your relationship, that's not going to be a part that fucks you up. But like for me personally, intimacy with my partner is a big deal for me in my relationship. So like hearing someone say, "let me fuck the shit out of you,"
and you deserve it, bitch.
Thank you.
You deserve it.
Like immediately after saying they loved me, ugh.
It's a win-win, baby.
It just don't get much better. I don't know where that accent came from.
That was like a little British Southern flair.
I just don't know it, babes.
Do you know my theory is that
What?
if you do, I'm sorry to anyone who's listening and is offended by this. If you do a Southern accent and a British accent, it's Australian. I swear to God. So you're about to say like, "So how are you?" Right? That's British.
So how are you?
It's like,
I can't do it.
it's like, it is.
My Philly accent is too strong.
So
The only thing I can say in an Australian accent is razor blades because of that hack where it's like you have to say rise up lights. Rise up lights. And it sounds like you're saying razor blades.
If you could see the smile planted across her face, being like, razor blades, rise up lights. I love it.
Or saying "but of course" in a French accent, saying "but of girls."
I wish you could see her, guys.
So entertaining.
I really wish you could see her.
I love it. Did they or didn't they, though?
It's like the beer can thing, too.
Yeah, Ken.
You love it. You love it.
Listen, accents are just fun when you're from, like, an area where your accent is constantly ridiculed because you say "wooder" instead of water.
You say wood door. That's how I when I hear you say water. No, when I hear you say water, I picture the words wood and door.
Yeah.
Wooder. It was, I remember the first time you said it, I was like, you would like some what?
It's like jarring.
Water.
Especially when I go out to a restaurant and they're like, "Would you like a glass of water?" And I'm like, "Yeah, can I have some water?"
They don't say water. They just say water.
They do. They say water.
Water. It's so extra. Like, I like how you're the only person who says water and you act like people who say water are weird.
They are. They are. It's just easier.
Okay, so did they or didn't they?
They did.
They did.
This was like such an iconic movie for Will They, Won't They?
True.
Will they? Won't they? Who knows? But they did.
It had enough of like an indie flair that they could have not ended up together.
I was kind of expecting that.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, indie rom-coms always want to do something different or, like...
Bold,
yeah. And this was very much, like, you know, you can tell it's an indie rom-com just from the soundtrack.
Yeah,
they played
from,
Real
like, the
O'Keefe, like,
Fleet
Fleet Foxes. But, like, yeah, I kind of was expecting them to do something out of left field, but I kind of love that as an indie rom-com, they kind of just, like, stuck with the, you know, the formula.
Yeah. It was really good.
It was really good.
It was great. It
was my first time watching it, and I had a hoot watching it because the actors are just so good. They're so funny.
We love you, Adam.
Kristen Wiig also does a really great job of, like, getting past, like, just being funny and being, like, a really tragic character
really
in
sad.
this movie.
Yeah.
So, like, if nothing else, I would watch it for, like, the performances again, you know, because they all do a really great job of, like, showing levels. Like, Maya Rudolph does a great job of, like, being really funny but also being really aggravated because she's a mom and her husband, she feels like her husband doesn't do anything. Like, the female performances are A+.
We love it.
We love it. Anyway,
I think that's it. I think we've done it all now.
that's it, babes.
That's it, babes. Babes.
Water.
Listen to that banter we've got. Good banter.
Good banter. We got the chat.
We do, yeah.
So that was Will They Won't They this week, guys.
If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share with your friends.
Share with your friends.
Also,
share with your friends.
What do you want to hear about? Like, tell us what movies you want
Please tell
us to review.
Because we're running out. Just kidding.
Just kidding. There's an endless amount of movies, and we're never going to stop making these, and you're going to have to listen to us for the next 40 years.
For the rest of your life.
My mom told me, like, oh, there's this movie I just watched that I think you guys should do.
Great.
So
there's new ones now, too?
Coming out, yeah. So
I don't want more.
You're going to have to hear us forever.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm really good. Okay, that was
like, subscribe, share with your friends, tweet at us, Instagram us,
TikTok
us.
We're old.
Clock app us. Yeah, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye.
So